WrestleMania 41 is over. I'm back from Vegas. And, back in the day, my grandmother bought me this magazine. It was shortly before WrestleMania 15. And one of the things it had in there was the real winners and the real losers from every WrestleMania. I really wish I still had that book. But today, I'm going to do the top 5 winners from this year's WrestleMania Night 1 and Night 2. So, obviously a lot of participants, a lot of wonderful matches, but people I think won big and will set themselves up for the rest of the year. Coming up on this episode of Break It Down with Brian H.
Break it down! No, baby, that's for somebody else. We're just going to keep you right where you're at right now.
It doesn't matter what you think!
The Wrestling Realm presents Break It Down with Brian H.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this episode of Break It Down with Brian H. I'm your host, Brian H. Waters. This show, of course, is brought to you by the Wrestling Realm. Folks, before I get started, I just want to remind you, go to SeatGeek if you are looking to save money. If you're going to next year's WrestleMania in New Orleans, but, let's talk about something sooner. We got Money in the Bank in Los Angeles. We got Backlash at St. Louis. We got SummerSlam right up the street in New York, New Jersey at MetLife. So if you're looking to save money, use the SeatGeek code Wrestling Realm. Also, I told you, I kind of did my taxes, that thing. But if maybe you might not got yours done yet, don't worry. I got a gal, Sophie's Prep. Make sure you holler at my girl, Sophie. She can get you straight. That's not an ad. That's a shoot, brother. Folks, you look at the WrestleMania card, right? And we saw a night where so many new champions was crowned. And we talked about this past week on the Wrestling Realm Now podcast. But I was sitting there thinking, right? And I was, as I'm closing the book on WrestleMania 41. It was a wonderful day, wonderful night. I spent a lot of good time with a lot of great people. Spent, obviously, a lot of time with my ringer colleagues, but also, my lady, Queen PR. Shout out to her host, my sister, Krista B. But then also, my boy CJ, Coolin' with CJ. Make sure you check out his show. T-Side and Tussle. T and Tussle. I'm sorry. I keep saying T-Side. It's T and Tussle. Natalie and AJ. Spent time with them. Coming all the way over from the UK. But then there was just so many people. Andreas Hale brought the community together with a good brunch. So there was a lot of things happening, and I encourage you next year to attend if you can, because it's a great time to meet up with a lot of people. But we talked a lot of the matches. We broke it down. We talked this, but I wanted to look at the future. WrestleMania, there's no off season in pro wrestling, so it's like that was day 365. Raw After Mania was night. Day 1 of the rest of the year. So let's get right into it. Who are the top 5 winners of WrestleMania 41? I'm not going to do this in no particular order, but here's what I'll say. Yes, we know Jey Uso won. He is the world champion. Yes, we know John Cena won. He's the new WWE champion. We already know they winners, right? For Jey Uso, it was the culmination of the story of him proving that he was main event Jey Uso. For John Cena, it was the record-setting 17 times. But I want to talk about some people who are proving themselves or are going to be some huge players moving forward. First, I got to start with Naomi, right? I watched the match, and from my seat, right, when I saw the match, I thought it was good, but I was like, man, I wanted more. And this is why, you got to look at wrestling a couple different ways, right? You got to look at it when you first watch it, you got to go back and watch it. So I went back and watched it with the broadcast, and I thought she did a phenomenal job. The facial expressions, the back and forth. Naomi was at Wale Mania, and she cut an incredible promo. But she shot from the heart. She shot from the ribs, whatever you want to say it. And she basically said, look, y'all want to boo me. Y'all didn't appreciate me. You know, she went out there, she went to TNA, she come back, they were starting to put her in the same position, and everybody look at her, okay, Naomi's just going to be Naomi. She's going to come out, dance, glow, all that. No, new music, and she's been warning everybody to proceed with caution. Did she get the win? No. When I saw the match, I said, she just got caught slipping, and Jade's strength overtook. But throughout the match, she showed a different attitude. And I would say right now, I am penciling her to be a Money in the Bank winner, cashing in on somebody that we all love, causing us to further dislike her. That is the stock I am putting in Naomi. WrestleMania, Naomi's a huge winner, even though she got counted 1, 2, 3. She's a huge winner. She came out on top because she proved that she belonged and that she is a main eventer. So now we got to talk about the Samoan werewolf, Jacob Fatu. Jacob is somebody who the internet wrestling community fell in love with. It was the moonsaults, you know, a big body guy who was so agile. Another member of the Fatu Anawai family. But the reason why he's a big winner, because coming out on top, winning the United States Championship at WrestleMania, his first singles championship at WrestleMania, and now proven and solidifying everybody's thoughts. Everybody who followed Jacob, the other people are saying, okay, I get it now. So when you look at it, folks, Jacob Fatu, a real winner of WrestleMania. And then I got to go with Seth Rollins. Seth freaking Rollins, the architect, the visionary, whatever other name you want to give him. Now, here's the reason why he's a real winner. Because aligning himself with Paul Heyman, by Rollins aligning himself with Paul Heyman, we are now prepared to see him go to new heights, to new levels. That's what's so exciting. You know, you think about everything he's done. Grand Slam champion. He's now main event at WrestleMania twice. He's won in the main event. He's opened the show. He had the heist of the century. He was on the marquee of WrestleMania. Everything he's wanted to do, he's done. But there's more. If Seth Rollins was to retire right now, first ballot Hall of Famer. But now he's going to put himself in the conversation to be on the Mount Rushmores, to be amongst the all-time greats, the top 10s. You know, The Rock calls him the workhorse of the WWE. And you can see this is something he's been wanting for years. Now you add Paul Heyman. And I think sometimes we always say, oh, but this person can talk. They don't need a manager or they don't need a mouthpiece. But no, sometimes put them both together and see now you got magic. You know, you can't say we didn't enjoy Punk and Heyman together. So now I am interested to see how this goes. So Seth Rollins, a true winner of WrestleMania weekend. And then I got to go with Io Sky. Io Sky has been one of the best wrestlers in the world for years. We knew that. But she kept proving that she was not an afterthought. And every time Rhea and Bianca tried to do that to her, no. And this is one of those few times where you're okay with your dream match not happening. For years, we've been saying we want Rhea, Bianca versus each other at a WrestleMania. And it looked like we was going to get that. But you insert Io, and it's like, okay, but it was all worth it. And then for her to follow up on Monday Night Raw in her match with Stephanie Vaquer, just amazing, because they went out there and put on a clinic. And it just goes to show you right now, women's wrestling, the bloodline of women's wrestling, the heartbeat of women's wrestling is better than ever before. And I can't wait to see what we got next. My last winner is none other than Dominic Mysterio, Dirty Dom. Dirty Dom finally gets his WrestleMania win after going 0 for 3. His first match, he teamed with his dad to go against Logan Paul. And The Miz, the second match, he lost to his dad. Last year, the Judgment Day went up against the LWO. But this year, he finally gets it done, gets the pin on Finn Balor. Now, I'm interested to see where this goes, because Finn says what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. But you got to know, he's not going to be very happy, right? But Dirty Dom is a huge winner because now he's got singles gold. He went from being the most hated, most despised WWE superstar to now to now being one of the most beloved. You saw the cheers, and so much that you could feel it. He ran back out there. He was at home. He was in Las Vegas. He had to just accept it. So congratulations to Dirty Dom. So those are my 5 biggest winners of WrestleMania weekend. Some honorable mentions that came to mind, right? Braun Breaker, of course. Yes, he lost, but being in the line with Heyman, that goes without saying. Tiffany Stratton, getting a win over Charlotte Flair after a bloody feud. Woo! That was a, huge win for her. Stephanie Valkyrie being able to come up and, she got the win on Stand and Deliver, and then to come to the main roster on Monday Night Raw and put on a banger. That goes to show you she's a winner. Obviously, John Cena for 17. Obviously, Jey Uso. But the 5 I named, those are my biggest winners of WrestleMania, folks. So let me know, who are your big winners? Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you follow me on all social media platforms. And remember, folks, do not let anyone place a ceiling above your success. I just felt like I had to say that on this show. Make sure you check me out on 6 Heart Media, 6HM Production, right here on YouTube. So make sure you check that out. Until the next time, folks, so long, everybody.